I've always known that you've written this book, but I had never read it, and I'd never known who Israel Keyes was. Why is his name so like not on the list of all the big serial killers?
It's really wild, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, my theory about it is that, you know, not long after Keyes was apprehended, I'm going to say about 9 months in, I don't want to spoil how this sort of ends for anybody. The FBI announced that they had this guy in custody. Nobody had ever heard of him. Nobody knew he'd been operating all over the United States for at least 14 years, probably more. And they asked the public for help in identifying other victims, in locating and identifying other victims. And then they just as quickly pulled this case back from public view. And I could never understand why. So I began the book with the full cooperation of the FBI. And in fact, one of the agents on the case said to me that he was really surprised because he'd never seen the Bureau in his like 26 years there give a journalist such unfettered access to them. And then about halfway through, I got back from one trip to Alaska. He was based up in Alaska, Keyes. And the FBI just shut down.
What year was this?
When they shut down
Yeah.
with me? Well, the book came out in 2019. So I'm going to say like 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start. It's not exactly the beginning, but let's start with the murder of Samantha, because this would be the tripping wire for him.
Yeah.
She was in what state?
Alaska.
She was in Alaska, and she was in one of those little kiosk type things where you buy coffee from, right? Like coffees, some light food.
Yeah.
And she was working late at night, which honestly, like no woman should ever do. She shouldn't work
Ever.
alone in a little box that anyone can come up to with a gun and get into, because that's exactly what happened to her. And we actually have that moment where Samantha was working in this little coffee hut. This is from the ABC documentary, Wild Crime, 11 Skulls. And he jumps in. First, he pulls a gun on her. You can see her back away, and then all the lights go out, and he jumps in. Watch.
In the video, you can see Samantha is closing up for the night in the coffee stand, cleaning and wiping things down. It's late at night, so there aren't many coffee drinkers that are driving up to the stand. And then you can see somebody walking up.
You don't see a lot of people just walk up. Most people are driving a vehicle.
Samantha goes to the window. So she starts making coffee. And she appears to be engaging with the person.
At one point, she turns towards the window and she reacts.
I vividly remember Samantha doing this and putting her hands up.
She then walks across the coffee stand and turns the lights off. Samantha took the money from the cash register. Then Samantha puts her coat on.
And then this individual just jumped straight into the coffee hut.
That moment, Maureen, she saw the face of evil and she knew it.
I'll tell you, when I was working on the book, I think I watched that tape, the abduction tape. I mean, I watched it many, many, many times, but I would go through it frame by frame, partly because the initial working theory, Samantha was 18 at the time. So she had just turned 18. She was legally an adult, right? But they decided to treat it like a missing child. Her boyfriend was supposed to pick her up. He was 10 minutes late. He would have been there. I don't know that it would have mattered because Keyes liked taking people in pairs. And that also distinguished him from many, many other serial killers. Their original theory was that Samantha was in on it. That was a staged abduction.
So she could get the money.
So she could get like the $200 that were in the till. And part of this also goes to the ways in which so many assumptions are made about victims of violent crimes. Samantha's father was like Hell's Angel adjacent, had his own brushes with the law. She was from the wrong side of the tracks. She had overcome her own drug issues. And so the theory was she's out partying and that's her accomplice. But when you go frame by frame through that, and you stopped right there, when Keyes jumps in, and he is a big guy, he's like at least 6'4", very rangy. He jumps like a predator. There's something that's almost like a panther, the way because those kiosks are up off the ground. They're on the side of the road in Alaska until Samantha's abduction, always staffed by attractive young girls, often alone. In the summer, they used to make them wear bikinis.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I know.
Girls, do not do this.
And those were very coveted jobs in Alaska. It was something of a veneration. It was something of a validation. If you got a job, that meant you were an attractive young woman who could lure customers in.
I used to worry, even my own brother, who, he's 5 years older than I am, but he used to work in one of those gas station kiosks for his high school job after hours, up until like 11 o'clock at night or whenever they closed. And he was alone. And I used to worry about him just being in there alone.
Sure.
You just never know who's going to come through. It's literally everybody comes through a gas station, and a young female in Alaska, which a lot of bad stuff happens in Alaska. It's so isolated. Like bad people go there to get lost.
100%. The thing too about that is it doesn't even matter. I think the time was like close to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I was sure to go to Alaska in 2 distinct times, once in the dead of summer and once in the dead of winter, because I wanted to experience what those extremes really do to your mind and your body. And we're such animals, like you go in the winter. I mean, you get like 2 hours of sunlight if you're lucky, 2 hours of real sunlight. And it has a depressive feeling, but it also, there's a lot of, it's a lot of darkness. It's a lot of spiritual darkness. It's a lot of psychological darkness. Most people don't know this, but Alaska, more people come from the lower 48 than are natives up there. And they're all people who are running away from something.
Yes, sorry, Alaska, but you're the most beautiful state in the union, but you got a lot of misfits there. Every other Dateline is about something in Alaska. All these crime series like Alaska, Wild Alaska, anyway, so it's no accident Israel Keyes found Alaska. Every once in a while, something comes along that reminds us of the power of storytelling. Something bold, meaningful, and grounded in faith. The Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, is a new 7-part series from the Daily Wire based on the novels by Stephen R. Lawhead. In the series, as pagan gods fall silent and empires collapse, one man's faith lights the spark of a civilization reborn. It's a story about courage, order, and moral clarity. It's the kind of story Hollywood does not make anymore. Through blood, faith, and sacrifice, Merlin becomes the bridge between myth and history and shapes the destiny of kings. The Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, premieres exclusively on Daily Wire Plus on January 22nd, 2026. Watch the new trailer now at pendragonseries.com. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.